Welcome to D&D Builds, where we have an outlet to make all sorts of ridiculous Dungeons & Dragons builds and stop driving the people in our lives insane with them. If you like D&D related content, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And if you really want to help out the channel, get access to character sheets, early access to videos, and plenty of other perks like getting a D&D session hosted by me, feel free to check out my Patreon like these incredibly awesome people. Today we're building the one, the only Captain America. And don't worry, we're going to try to avoid going with an imposter Captain America and try to stick pretty true to the character. First thing we got to do is pick a race. This is pretty easy, we're going human, and since he was altered by the super soldier serum, we're going to go human variant. This will give you +2 to 2 stats, and a feat to start. There should be absolutely no surprise when we choose our feat, and we're going to go Shield Master. Captain America is definitely known for how he uses his shield, and this feat allows you to use a bonus action to shove a creature with your shield after you've taken the attack action. You can add your shield's armor class bonus to your dexterity saving throws, and if you're required to make a dex save, you can use your shield to block the majority of the damage. If you fail the dex save, you take half damage, and if you pass, you can avoid the damage altogether, just like if you jump up and tuck behind your shield. As far as the background, I was super tempted to take the entertainer background, as Steve was forced to really put on a show for quite a while getting people to buy war bonds, but instead we're going to go with the soldier background. It should be no surprise that we're taking this. He does have a huge background in the military, and this will give you skill proficiencies in athletics and intimidation. It'll also give you a proficiency in using land vehicles, and a piece of equipment that shows the insignia of your rank. And when it comes to stats, we're really going to focus on strength because this is after you've gotten the super soldier serum. We don't want to go with tiny Steve Rogers. You're also pretty dexterous, so we're going to boost our dexterity, and we want to make sure you can do this all day, so we're going to boost our constitution as well. We're going to dump intelligence and wisdom because you are a man out of time, so you don't really understand the world around you very well. While I think Captain America is very charismatic, he doesn't really seem to know how to use it, so we're going to dump that as well. Then we're going to boost our strength and constitution with the 2 points we have from being a human variant. And don't worry, I know we have an odd number in dexterity, but we'll tackle that later. Now it's time to pick up a class. While there is an argument that could be made to take Paladin and really rely on the oath to help round out your character, I think a fighter is a much better choice. At first level of fighter, you get proficiencies in shields, all armor, all weapons, and saving throws in strength and constitution. Since we already got skill proficiencies in athletics and intimidation, the other 2 skills I would choose at this level are history, because you are a man of history, you're literally from that time, and insight, because Captain America has a better understanding of what people's true intentions are more often than most of the other Avengers. As far as starting equipment, we're obviously going to grab a shield, and then as far as a weapon, we can really grab anything because we see him in the movies using everything from his fists to the shield, to ranged weapons, to a hammer, to even that axe for a very quick period of time. While we do see him wearing a bit more padded leather type of armor in the movies, in the comics he's usually wearing something that looks a little closer to scale mail, so we're going to go with the heavy armor choice here and go with chain mail to start. We can swap this out later for some scale mail whenever we get the chance to pick it up. The first feature you have to choose when you choose a fighter as a class is a fighting style. Because of how we've seen Cap fight in the movies and in most of the comics, it's very tempting to take something a bit more focused on the shield, such as protection, interception, or maybe even defense. But really, I think the best choice here is unarmed fighting. This allows you to deal a bit more bludgeoning damage when you punch the crap out of your enemies, and it allows you to do some additional damage if you're grappling with your enemy. Additionally, at this level you get Second Wind, allowing you to use your bonus action to regain some hit points, giving you one more reason to say that line.
I can do this all day.
At second level of fighter, you get Action Surge, and this allows you, as the name implies, to get a whole nother action to use on your turn, which you can do once per short or long rest. Then at third level, we get to choose a fighter subclass, also known as a martial archetype. I was super tempted to take Battle Master here, as you learn some techniques from your military training and use military maneuvers around the battlefield, but frankly, it seems like they didn't really put much care into his training, thinking he was just going to be flunked out anyways. So instead, I'm going to go with an often overlooked archetype. I'm going to dive into the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide with the subclass Banneret. Bannerets are described as knights who inspire greatness in others by committing brave deeds in battle. And considering how much of an inspirational figure Captain America is known as, I think this fits perfectly. And right when you take this archetype, you get the feature Rallying Cry, making it so that way when you say you can do this all day, you inspire those around you, getting all of your allies within 60 feet to regain hit points equal to your fighter level. And that Rallying Cry comes early in this build, being perfect for you to be able to pull off saying, "Avengers Assemble." At 4th level you get an ability score improvement, but instead of diving into the stats, since fighters have tons of ability scores to go around, I think it's time we lay some foundations for what makes Captain America Captain America. So instead of just grabbing some random points, what we're going to grab is a feat. We're going to grab Tavern Brawler. Captain America is so well known for throwing his shield, it's just a foundation of the character that we really have to address early on. If you're going to throw your shield, it's not actually a thrown weapon and it's counted as an improvised weapon, as most of the written rules of Dungeons & Dragons, and Tavern Brawler allows you to be proficient in improvised weapons, which you didn't have previously. It also gives you the ability to roll additional damage for unarmed strikes, but we already have that with our fighting style. Additionally, it gives you the ability to use a bonus action to grapple your target if you've already done an unarmed strike against them, so that's going to be pretty good to play with. And lastly, it gives you 1 additional point in either strength or constitution, so we're going to put it into our strength. This gives us an odd number in both of our strength and dexterity at this point. At 5th level of fighter, you get extra attack, and this is super important for any martial class, but since you have action surge, that means that at this level, if you used your action surge, you can attack 4 times in a single turn. At 6th level, you get another ability score improvement almost right away, so we're going to address those 2 odd scores that were driving me nuts before, boosting up our strength and our dexterity with 1 point each, rounding them out and making them much more usable. At 7th level, you get a fighter banneret feature known as Royal Envoy, giving you proficiency in the persuasion skill and doubling that proficiency whenever you use it. Just think of this as your ability to convince others to make those hard choices that are better for everybody. At 8th level you get another ability score improvement, so we're going to boost up our constitution so you can take a few more hits. At 9th level you get the feature Indomitable, making it so you can re-roll a saving throw if you fail, so you can really pull off that hero's comeback. Granted, you can only do this once per long rest, but it wouldn't be all that thrilling if you could just do it all the time. At 10th level, you get Inspiring Surge. This makes it so when you use your action surge feature, you can choose 1 creature within 60 feet of you that is allied with you, and that creature can make 1 melee or ranged weapon attack with its reaction, provided that it can see or hear you. And this is exceptionally useful if you have someone like a rogue in your party, because rogues are allowed to use sneak attack once per turn, not once per round. So if, let's say, Black Widow snuck up on their enemy, used a sneak attack, and then you came up, attacking the crap out of the same enemy, distracting them and allowing Black Widow to make a whole nother sneak attack. So they'll get a sneak attack on their turn and then a sneak attack on your turn, only spending a reaction, which is so insanely beneficial for any well-rounded party. And the Avengers definitely have a little bit of everything, so it's pretty true to form. Then at 11th level of fighter, you get another extra attack, allowing you to attack 3 times per turn or 6 times if you use your action surge. At 12th level of fighter, you get another ability score improvement, so we're finally going to max out our strength, making it so you can hit a little harder and be one of the few people to be able to catch Thanos' hand. At 13th level of fighter, you get 2 uses of Indomitable per long rest instead of 1. At 14th level of fighter, you get another ability score improvement. So we're going to max out our constitution, and you can say that line again.
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
At 15th level, you get another feature from your Banneret fighter archetype, Bulwark, allowing you to extend that Indomitable feature to an ally. So when you use Indomitable to re-roll an Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma save, you can choose an ally within 60 feet of you to also re-roll it, really rounding out this archetype as a true leader of the party, focusing on boosting Captain America's allies more than anything else, and I think that's pretty true to form. At 16th level of fighter, you get another ability score improvement, so we're going to boost up our dexterity so you're a bit more nimble and able to dodge around. And with how that's mixed in with your Shield Master feat, that means you can really dodge some explosions. At 17th level, you get 1 more action surge you can use per short or long rest, and 1 more Indomitable you can use per long rest. Then at 18th level, your Inspiring Surge that you got from being a Banneret gets a little boost. Now instead of just 1 ally making an attack as that reaction, when you use your action surge feat, you can now choose 2 allies that can both make attacks. At 19th level, you get another ability score improvement, and instead of maxing out our dexterity, we're going to grab another feat because we already have a decent amount of dex, and I think we need a little more fun in this build, so we should grab another fighting style by grabbing the Fighting Initiate feat. Now it's time to finally focus in on some of the fighting you can do with your shield, and while I would love to do thrown weapon fighting, there's not really any shields in D&D that have a thrown property unless you hit up your local artificer Tony Stark to help you build one. So focusing in on the shield, I think either protection, interception, or defense makes the most sense. And while I really like interception, at this level level in D&D, a 1d10 plus your proficiency bonus is not going to help you that much, because we have people that really hit like a truck. And frankly, even though defense is pretty good with just a +1 to your AC, it's kind of boring, so I'm going to go protection, allowing you to impose disadvantage on an attack against one of your allies within 5 feet of you. Then finally, at the max level of this build, level 20, we get extra attack for the 3rd time, meaning that you can attack 4 times on your turn, and if you use your action surge, that gets bumped up to 8 times, and that is really hard to keep up with. If you really wanted to replicate this shield that Captain America has, unfortunately there's not a great way to do that with pre-existing items, but really I would just take an adamantium shield, which is the closest you're going to get to vibranium, make it a +3 shield because it's Captain America's shield, it's freaking iconic, and then find a way to give it the throne property. And then maybe on top of that, have an artificer in your group give it returning weapon. That way you can throw it and have it bounce right back to you. The last tiny little issue is that according to the rules, it takes an action to don or doff a shield. So you'd have to either figure out a way around that with a specialty part of the item, or talk to your DM about possibly ignoring that as being a shield master. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck burning through those action surges. Captain America was suggested a bunch of times in the comments, and I figured since I just recently did the Iron Man build, it only made sense to do the other half of Civil War. If there's anything you would do differently in this build, let me know, because I'm very curious as to what you think. And if there's any other D&D builds you want to see, also let me know, because I try and read and respond to as many comments as humanly possible. If you want the character sheet for this build, any of my other builds, early access to some of my videos, or plenty of other perks like access to our Discord, or even the opportunity to have a D&D session hosted by me, feel free to check out my Patreon, linked in the description down below, where you can be just as awesome as these badasses listed here. They're my patrons, they help support me to do this kind of stuff, and I cannot thank them enough. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, let me know by hitting that like button, especially if you're planning to play as Captain America himself, and really let your enemies know that you can do this all day.
That is America's ass.